Hello Australia, welcome to another Big Couch. Actually 683 and only 3 more shows for the year to be done. Dr. Jenny Brockers hasn't been here for about 3 years, but she's back looking good. We talk about her brand new book called Thriving Mind. Stick around for that one. Dean Dyer is coming in to talk about men's mental health with Nisha. Stick around for that one. Talking movies and streaming with Paul Elwood. He's got the latest movies and the latest streaming as well. Talking entertainment with Alexander Sacosta. He'll be in later. Melody Wayne is a myotherapist from a company called In Touch with a Dog, or In Touch with Dog. I think that's how you pronounce it. Basically, she does massage on your dogs. Stay tuned for that. Bitchin' with Ted Bull, Jen Merrigan and Chris Ilsley, and then talking property with Steve Collins. Big show music-wise. Cade DeLuca performs for us. Hope you can stick around. Episode 683 starts now.
It's showtime on the couch. It's showtime on the couch. You can see it from your house. You can see it from your house. It's showtime on the couch with Fred and the best in town. You can see it from your house. Yeah, it's showtime on the couch.
And I nearly forgot to say hello to everybody in Victoria, New South Wales and Queensland, South Australia, Northern Territory, Broome, everywhere, and Tasmania as well. And if I've left you out, Alice Springs, anywhere, and people in Perth as well. Thanks for joining us on the couch. I hope everything's getting better with Corona over in the east. I know things here are great, but we always think of you over in the east and hope for all the best. And you're getting there. Hopefully Christmas will all be together again. Now, opening the show today is a very young guy. He's only 13 years old. His name is Cade DeLuca, and he's performing a fantastic song, Centre Stage. It's My Girl. Here he is.
Cloudy day, when it's cold outside, I got the month of May. I get
Thank you very much to Cade DeLuca. He'll be back at the end of the show with another fantastic song. 13 years old, and he's been with us for a few years, so well done. Thank you very much. And any other young people that want to get given the opportunity, maybe next year on the couch to perform, write to us now, and we'll have you back next year when we start again, late January, February. Now, someone that hasn't been with us for a couple of years, 2 or 3 years actually, is our next guest, Dr. Jenny Brockes. She started with BrainFit, and now she's got Thriving Mind. You see the books on set today. Welcome home. Welcome back, Jenny.
Thanks so much, Fred.
It is so nice to have you here. When I saw you online, I think on Instagram or Facebook, I said, oh, Jenny's still writing books, because I hadn't heard from you for a couple of years. And I got you on 6PR, and you're a very popular lady. Tell us what you've been up to in the last 2 or 3 years since we've seen you.
I think I've been spending too much time sitting on planes, flying between Perth and Sydney, Perth and Melbourne.
And what are you
Perth
doing
and
when you
Brisbane.
do that? Seminars or...?
Seminars, conferences, workshops. And of course, that all came to a rather an abrupt end.
Because of COVID.
In March. So that actually was really good timing for me, because I had this book coming out in a few months' time.
Now, for people who don't know you, Jenny, you are a doctor. You were a general practitioner before this, weren't you?
That's right.
You're still a doctor, aren't you?
Yes, I'm still registered.
And you're not practising as a GP at the moment?
Yeah. I'm technically a non-clinical medical practitioner.
You're still qualified.
Yes.
You've written, tell us about the previous books, because you got into the BrainFit side of things, didn't we?
I did.
Tell us about those first.
So the first book was called BrainFit, and that was basically with me with my GP hat on, really talking about what we can do to look after our brains, particularly as we get older, because I think most people are a bit worried about losing their memory, not being quite as sharp as we get older, so that addressed that. Then I did another book called Brain Smart, and that was more for people who wanted to know how to maintain sort of really good thinking skills at work.
Okay.
So be more productive, maybe more efficient.
At work.
Yeah, so while at work. And then the book after that was called Future Brain, which was really a more holistic look at the brain as a whole, how we are affected by our emotions when we're making decisions and things like that. And then I had a bit of a lull for a few years, and I started realising that while, you know, it's all well and good to understand how your brain works, what I was hearing were many people were saying, well, Jenny, I'm just so overwhelmed, I'm just so tired, I'm just working too many hours, I feel just exhausted all the time, this is no life. And I'm thinking, why?
Is this? Yeah, exactly. Why are people having these issues?
I think it's a mixture of things. I think one thing is there's been this culture of expectation where in order to be perceived as being successful, you have to be the person who turns up early, goes home late, never says no to anything. Dedicated because you're showing your commitment. But yes, you're creating workaholics. And that's detrimental to our health and our well-being and our relationships. And I think sometimes the expectation was on the employer's side as well. Yes, I want you to demonstrate your commitment to the company, etc., etc. So we ended up basically just living our lives to work.
Would you say there'd be a lot of burnout? A lot of people would have suffered burnout. Now, I know you've got a personal story with yourself as well. So this is where I say to people, I actually was saying to Jenny, I gave the book that you gave me to a friend of mine because she was having a lot of stress. And this is no jokes, no publicity here. I didn't tell Jenny about it. I just told her this morning. Basically, the lady said to me, within 3 days of reading some of the book, she says it all sinks in and she actually feels a lot better because she was suffering mental health issues when it came to burnout, too much work, didn't like being at work anymore, wants to stay home. Yep. She worked at home for a while COVID was on, and she actually loved not being in the office area. So, Jenny, what do you recommend to people, apart from reading the book? What are we doing that we need to change?
I think it's time to just step back and reflect. I think actually a lot of people have been doing that over the last 6-7 months anyway, because of the rapid change and things we've had to adjust to. But I think it's about recognising what's serving us well and what isn't. And if we've been running our lives in a way that is just sort of wearing us out, it's time to think, well, what can I be doing differently that's going to allow me to have a fulfilling life, a happier life, but it's a more balanced life.
Give me some examples as well of signs that we should be seeing, if not for ourselves, in our friends and family. What are the signs that say there's a problem there?
I think for many people, it's just noticing that somebody's always tired. they've never got the energy. They'll pull back from accepting an invitation to go out and do those things they would normally enjoy doing. It's when they're a bit more snappy, a bit more irritable sometimes.
Describing. Have you been watching through my window, have you, Jenny?
Yes. But also when you sense that people are just going a bit quiet. I think that quiet piece is actually a big red flag for many people. They're not joining in the conversation, they're just holding back and going very quiet.
Thriving Mind, how can it help people? What have you put in this fantastic book that's going to hopefully help the general public and people who read the book?
So it's really an invitation to reflect on your own life and decide what you could be doing differently for yourself, because it's not a sort of one size fits all. It's in 3 sections. There's a section on how to be happier, not about being happy all the time, but happier, because that's important for your mental well-being, so you're less likely to get anxiety or depression. There's a section on how to truly thrive, and of course that's different for different people, but that's not just what we eat, how we move, how we sleep, but also those things that we enjoy, like music, dance, playing.
Things that we call recreational.
Recreational,
even just watching TV or Netflix that
just
a lot of
chilling
us
out.
have been doing the last few months.
Exactly.
Can I ask, people in Victoria, as you know, that state's had a bit of a problem with COVID.
Yeah.
This would maybe help a lot of those people to maybe settle back and say, okay, I'm okay. It's normal what I'm feeling. It's other people are feeling.
Absolutely, because I think a lot of people have been concerned that they are feeling quite unwell or very stressed and feeling like they're broken. But in fact, this is a normal reaction to a very abnormal situation. And knowing that you're not broken is hugely reassuring. And the last piece of the book addresses how we can get better at socially connecting with each other.
It's a big part of life, mental health issues, and we've got another segment coming up very soon to do with men's mental health. So the book could be helpful for men and women, can I say, or family members as well. But just generally, maybe a Christmas gift or just a gift to a friend that you care about or a family member. Jenny, where can we get the book? What's your website details?
My website is drjennybrockis.com. You can get the book online from Amazon or Booktopia. And if you've got a local bookstore that's still open, you can pop in there and buy a copy.
Are you available for doing seminars and tutorials here in Perth if people want you?
Yes.
Because I know there's a lot of people in Perth at the moment that we're allowed to catch up with people. We're allowed to have group meetings, so it might be something that other companies can look into. Jenny Brockis, thank you for coming back. I look forward to your next book. Are you already planning another one, or are you having a rest for the time being?
I might have a little rest first, but I think I've got another one in me.
This is Dr. Jenny Brockis, a good friend of us here at The Couch. Please support her. Look out for the book in great bookstores or buy it online, and as you said, Amazon as well. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Fred.
Now, you're wondering why I've got these amazing chocolates on my desk, okay? This was very popular about 20 years ago. No connection to feeling good, but I can tell you now, if I have a couple of those, I'll feel good and read the book as well by Jenny. Scorched peanut bar. Thank you to the company called Cook's Confectionery that sent me out 6 boxes. We would love you to try this. So in the next couple of weeks, I'll tell you how we can give you a chance at trying some of the bars yourself. But they are out. They're out now. They're back on the market after about 20 years. Nestle has sold them to Cook's, and we're really glad. There it is, the new Scorched Peanut Bar out on your supermarket shelves for about $1.50. Pretty good, and it tastes exactly the same. We're going to take a break. After the break, we're going to talk to some more guests. We've got Paul Elwin coming in to talk about movies and streaming on The Couch. See you then. Welcome back to The Couch. Time to talk movies and streaming. And with us, as always, Paul Elwin. Welcome back.
Thanks, Fred. Yes, we've got some movies for you all, and we've also got a few streaming shows as well. So the first thing we've got in cinemas right now, we've got these 3 movies that are available to check out now in your local cinema.
Okay.
The first one we have is On the Rocks, which teams up with the amazing director Sofia Coppola. She's done heaps of awesome films. One of my favourites, Lost in Translation. She's teaming up, and the main characters we got in here are played by Rashida Jones, who's the daughter of Quincy Jones, but she's also a great actress in her own right. She was in Parks and Rec and The Office, and she plays the daughter to a Playboy style character played by Bill Murray. And what happens is Rashida Jones's character thinks her husband's been acting a bit funny or suspicious lately, so she decides to keep an eye on him. And of course, she needs like a friend to help her with it. So she decides, well, maybe my playboy bachelor type dad can help me out, played by Bill Murray. So
Oh, is that what Bill Murray's role is?
yeah, so like it's kind of,
Playboy.
it is actually similar. Sofia Coppola directed Lost in Translation, and Bill Murray's character in that is kind of similar to this, but
Is Bill
it is
Murray
funny.
executive producer?
No,
No,
but
not
he's
yet.
just in some of these movies that he just seems to just
Amazing
fall
actor.
into these roles where he just plays a really funny older guy. So
Fantastic
yeah. So that's
movie.
on the rocks in
And
cinemas
that's
now.
out now as
Yes,
well.
out now in
And
cinemas.
the next one.
The next one we've got is The High Note, which is sort of it's just a drama, but also in a music kind of sense. So it's about the music world, the entertainment world as such. So the main characters we've got in here is an assistant to a pop diva. The pop diva is played by Tracy Ellis Ross. Familiar last name? Yes, she's the daughter of
Diana
Diana
Ross?
Ross.
Yeah, I
So
thought it might
she's
be.
very familiar with what a pop diva is like and how
She
they
actually
act.
looks like Diana Ross a bit as well.
It's scary, but
It
like she
is.
can sing everything. It's amazing. And so it's about her, but also how her assistant is dealing with life, as an assistant, but played by Dakota Johnson, who was in the Shades of Grey movies. So this one kind of has a sort of inkering of like The Devil Wears Prada kind of thing, where you've got
okay.
like, a crazy diva type lady, and you've got the assistant, and how do their lives sort of balance out. So it's an interesting little drama for those of you that like that.
It looks like a little
sort
bit
of
of
thing.
fun, but also a good storyline.
A little
as well.
bit funny, but also mostly dramatic. So yeah, an interesting one there.
That's out right now
That's
as well.
the High Note, yes.
And the third movie we're looking at today is The
movie
American Pickle.
The American Pickle. It's a Seth Rogen comedy. So if
So it'll be
you're
funny.
not into Seth Rogen, you probably won't like this.
Look away now.
He's essentially a Jewish Polish immigrant in America. He finds a job at a pickling factory. Weird premise. He falls into the pickling
I love the
juice.
accent.
The
Yours,
accent's
that is, not
full.
his.
Sorry. And then he falls into the pickling vat, and for some weird reason, the factory's closed for 100 years, and then he hops out of the pickling vat.
Really?
But the thing is, he's trying to work out, 100 years. Oh my gosh, my wife, their kids have passed away, and he finally reunites with his grandson. And the interesting thing is, obviously, Seth Rogen plays his grandson as well. So this is using some green screened trickery.
Special effects CGI.
His beard is a proper beard. So what they did was he filmed all of his roles as the older member of the family who was in the pickling juice with a beard. Then they did green screen, and then he fully cleanly shaved, and he's playing the grandson. And they somehow managed to put all that together via green
Oh,
screen.
look, I
and
like
special
Seth
effects.
Rogen. I don't think he's a
He's
very funny
guy.
man.
It's an interesting move, but the thing is, it's also because he does it through comedy, but it's also quite dramatic, and it's quite interesting. It's directed by Brandon Trost, who also did This Is the End, and one of my favourite movies he did was The Disaster Artist, which was all about how the movie The Room got made.
So there are three
Yes.
movies for this week,
That you
and
can
we've
go
got
out and watch
5
now,
now.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll go out and support the cinemas. Palace Cinema, and most of the cinemas have got a lot of movies out there. They're just 3 new ones.
There's heaps of new movies coming. which is
Yeah, I'll
great
tell
as
you what,
well.
in the new year, Disney's got tons, Fox has got tons,
There's a lot.
Paramount, so we'll keep you in tune with that.
It's all coming in. So
Also streaming.
So for streaming, these are a few interesting suggestions that I've been checking out lately. The first one is Ratched.
I
Now
watched
this
that
is
one
about
yesterday.
Nurse Mildred Ratched.
Evil.
Who is she? She was the nurse in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, the great movie, play, book, the book by
Not
Ken
the original
Kesey.
one, obviously, because she's not
No,
old
not the
enough.
original, but
But it's scary. I watched it yesterday.
Oh my gosh, it's very harrowing. It's very dramatic, but very interesting because you go, how do these monsters, these people, come about? And you see, like, it's not just her. There's many.
Have
people
you watched
in
this one yourself?
Kind of. I was watching it with my wife and mostly going, these people are horrible.
It's gruesome, I tell you what.
It's a
There's-
bit full on. So if you
If you don't like blood and guts and all that sort of thing, stay away from it. Because
Yeah.
it really is good. It's like Wentworth meet One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest meet, I don't know,
Everything, yeah.
The Walking Dead. But it's an amazing series.
Sarah Paulson, who's the main character playing Mildred Ratched, she was in American Horror Story. So if you're familiar with that sort of thing, she's in this. But it also have Cynthia Nixon from Sex and the City. Sharon Stone's in this
Great
as well.
cast.
Amazing cast in this one. So that's Ratched on Netflix. The other one we've got is Lovecraft Country. Lovecraft, which is Howard Phillips Lovecraft, H.P. Lovecraft, the paperback writer of horror stories. Essentially, it's taking his world and putting it into the regular world, I guess, our own world. But this was set quite a few years back where an African-American man teams up with his uncle and a lady, and they're searching for his father, but he's dealing with life in the South. And for some weird reason, there's also some weird fantasy type monsters. But the other thing is, there's also the whole situation in the South where race is a major issue. So you're going, okay, what's worse, the monsters or the people? And yeah, it's a bit confronting, but an interesting fantasy horror drama. If you're into any sort of aspect of Lovecraft type horror, but also as a drama, the cast in this is phenomenal, and how they deal with all of these situations piling up on them is pretty
And
cool.
you can catch this one on binge.
Yes, this one's on binge. So
The next
finally,
one there.
well, coming up soon, I think late October is Mandalorian Season 2. This was a surprise hit from Disney Plus. It was huge because everyone wasn't sure what it was going to be like. Is it kind of going to be like a Game of Thrones cowboy sort of thing, but in Star Wars situation? But the teasers haven't shown you anything. They don't give away any of the characters that everyone knows should be in this.
What do you
and
reckon
what
they've
they're
done
looking
that?
at.
Just to keep you under sort of
Just
mystique, I guess.
they've played it right. They've just said,
Mystery.
look, you really just have to watch the episodes to actually realize what the characters look like and what they're like. So it is kind of cool because the series was like that when they had the first teasers out for season 1. People go, we know what a few people look like, but it was actually interesting as each episode came up, you'd be like, oh my God, we got to see this character or this character. So this one's going to be probably big again. And yeah, I like
Disney Plus for
Disney
those people
Plus,
who've got it.
yes.
Let's go to the next one. It's called Emily in Paris.
Emily
and
in
it's
Paris.
on
So
Netflix.
this one is on Netflix and it's produced by Darren Star. You might have heard from him. He had a little kind of series that he put together called Sex and the City.
Oh, is that what
was
it is?
yeah,
I
just a
remember that
little
show.
So he wrote and produced Sex and the City, but he also wrote and produced a recent series called Younger, which is amazing. It's sort of a contemporary version of it. This one is the sort of same thing, fish out of water. A company reaches out to this American marketing girl and to come to Paris and go, well, you're Americans. Show us what you Americans do with this and that, and you know, in these stages of your life and everything. So it's sort of fish out of water. She's in Paris, and it's kind of strange because it gets a little backlash where people are going, oh, she's just a stereotypical American and she's in stereotypical Paris. But you're going, well, it is kind of how it plays out.
So this one looks good to me.
Yeah, so it's interesting. So for anyone that has, Darren Star's co-produced this, so he hasn't written this, but yeah, it is an interesting premise if you like Sex and the City.
And
that
this
sort of
one's
thing.
available on our very own Stan. Thank you very much. Paul, is that the last one?
No, we've got also...
Oh, there's one more. Sorry, that was Netflix.
Yeah,
Stan
so
is the
that's
next
Netflix,
one.
and the last one is Stan, The Good Lord Bird. If you like your kind of Western stories,
Another
but this
beard.
one is back in the day. Ethan Hawke plays John Brown, who is this abolitionist, but he is a kind of a bit of a religious nut as well. He is like, you know, God is on my side for this whole thing, and he is very strong in his convictions and what he's doing, and pretty much he is going to sort out the injustice and
A lot of
everything in this.
period pieces coming in, isn't it? Because
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
obviously
it's great.
set in a few in the Western days.
Well, yeah, sort of the post-Wild West,
Yeah.
but yeah, the beginning of abolition. But yeah, very interesting, and it's co-produced by the Blumhouse. This is a Blumhouse TV production where they normally did horror.
Yeah.
This one is, this one's actual history drama, and
Yeah, that's what I thought.
it's done very interesting. And like Ethan Hawke really steals a show with this, but the supporting
Great
cast
actor.
in this is really cool. So if you do like a sort of Western flavour, but one that is really entrenched in a drama and history, this one's quite interesting. So this is The Good Lord Bird on Stan.
Fantastic. Paul, thank you very much. And
Thanks.
for those people who don't know, you can get these fantastic streaming devices. All you need is a smart TV or one of those Apple TVs. You can actually sometimes get 3 months for free. So check out the websites for these. And I used to actually get the 3 months and then cancel it before and then move to the next one.
Yeah,
but
try
you
them
get
all
to
out.
see some great television, don't you?
Oh, yeah, it's
Television,
amazing,
movies, great movies. And I think you don't know what you're missing. There's a lot there. And for those people who love Lost in Space, it has been approved. They've started recording
season, yeah.
the final season, and hopefully it's out in 2021. Paul, we're going to give away some tickets thanks to Palace Cinema. If you haven't had the chance to go and see the fantastic Rain Square Palace Cinema, looks very similar to this one. This is their national footage. Wine, lounge, fantastic luxury, I would call it, leather seating. Just amazing. They've got their own Platinum, which is the Gold Lounge, but just better popcorn. You can actually order food from the whole of the second floor there, which is like a food hall. So fantastic opportunities. Palace Cinema in Rain Square, $5 parking. Just take your ticket up. We're giving away 2 of the standard tickets, 2 of the Platinum tickets to 2 different people. And all you have to do is put on an SMS to 0439 929 929. Now, anyone in Australia can enter this, not just Perth. The word is Palace. That is your code word. Your name and address needs to be on that SMS, and all we do is pick one randomly. Oh, well, we're going to pick two, obviously, one for the Platinum and one for the Standard tickets. And you can put that on there if you want the Platinum or Standard. Fantastic experience. Thanks to Palace Cinemas. Thank you to Paul Elwell. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Yes.
Our last
Thanks,
show,
Rich.
actually, in a couple of weeks. We'll see Paul. We'll take a quick break, folks. We've got entertainment coming up right after this. You're watching The Couch, only on Foxtel. See you soon. Welcome back to The Couch. Always entertaining to have this man in the studio. Alexander Sacosta, welcome back. Talking entertainment.
Thank you, Fred. Happy to be back.
Now, can I just tell people
Yes.
you're doing Have a Go TV at the moment?
Home in WA?
Home in WA.
Yes, yes.
Well, Have a Go is
Have a
probably...
Go, Home in Go.
I've preempted it because they're going to ask you to do Have a Go TV as well.
That was next.
But I think that's me because I'm older. I think that's over 50s. But Home in WA,
Home in WA
fantastic
on
production. Channel 7. When can we watch that?
5:30 before the news on Channel 7.
On a Saturday or Sunday?
On a Saturday.
Beautiful. You can catch our very own Alexander Sacosta. Support him. Send them some feedback. Tell him you love him and you want
Yes,
him on the
please.
show 24 hours a day and every single segment with him. That would be quite good. We can share the
We
profits.
can call it Alexander's Channel 7.
Oh, well, better than Fat Cat's Channel 7. Look, you've got some great things to talk about today. You've got lots of topics. So I'm not going to interrupt you. You've got the Yellow Wiggle, Greg Page
Greg
doing some
Page,
stuff.
so he was discussing about, he had, I don't know if you remember, in January he had a kind of a heart attack and a
massive heart
cardiac
attack.
event on stage. And
Correct.
he was very lucky that there was a nurse and a doctor actually so close by. because
He's
they
been
did-
promoting a lot of good health to do
Yes,
with hearts at the moment.
Exactly right, because he was saying that you would think someone who's actually so active, because he was performing like 4 shows a day, would be fit. But he was saying actually his diet was so terrible that even though he was exercising as much as he was, he actually was still in a very unhealthy. He even said he would classify himself as obese.
It's
when it
amazing
comes
because
to
you
your
know those
BMI.
machines, are they called fibrillator?
Yeah, you have to have the defibrillator. 3
Someone
shocks,
actually
they
knew
said.
how to use it.
Yeah.
And he's actually going out there telling people to learn how to use it. Do
Yes.
first aid is really important. That's how they saved his life.
And and the chance of survival is like 10%. So he was very, very lucky there was people there. to
And
do
we
that.
need him around. Lots of
Yeah, we
kids
need the
love
wiggles, always. And he's
So-
OG, Yellow Wiggle. That's
Correct.
Stevie's hits.
Hey, how do you replace the yellow wiggle?
You can't replace yellow. With
Fantastic.
What? Purple? I don't think so.
Now, what have I heard about Rod Stewart having a bit of a fight
Apparently-
a
fight,
with
yeah.
Elton John?
The kind of rivalry, I guess, continues. He made a comment about Elton John's film Rocket Man,
Mm-hmm.
saying that it was a bit like Mamma Mia. So saying it wasn't like serious enough.
Oh, no,
as
Mamma
opposed
Mia
to-
was better. I watched Rocket Man and I thought the movie was great because I didn't know a lot about Elton John.
Yeah.
And it was a good way of actually, at least 90% of it was fact, I guess. But it was really good. If you love his music.
Yeah, I thought it was
he went through a horrible life.
Well, Rod Stewart said he preferred Bohemian Rhapsody as a more like serious movie. So
Fair
fair enough. But then obviously he also made fun of the fact that Elton John's doing another farewell tour.
He is now, what's with that?
I don't know,
A
Fred.
farewell tour, you spend $400 or $500 to go and see him in Perth. And then he comes back and says,
back
I'm going to
again.
do another
Everyone's always on a
farewell.
And also, they're all getting so old. It's like farewell tours, like the Antiques Roadshow.
And soon you won't be able to sing that song, I'm Still Standing.
Well, I'm still kind
Sitting.
of standing.
Exactly.
I'm still standing for a moment.
Do we know when he's doing his next farewell tour?
No dates announced.
No,
as of
no
yet.
dates, but check out Elton John. He's going to be doing his farewell tour too.
Yeah,
And I
farewell
think
tour
it
too.
is coming to Australia. I'm not
Yes,
sure
I
if
believe
it's
so,
Queensland,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
it'll be good to see again.
Again.
Now, what's happening with Kanye
So
West?
Kanye West, they revealed he actually is, because you know how he's always talking about how he's a billionaire.
no money.
He said he had $7 billion, but
Is
they
that
actually
all?
announced is that all? $1.8 billion investments in Nike and Adidas.
So he's owning some good companies there.
A very
Good
intelligent
portfolio.
person, and the kind of thing is that this perception that he's crazy, but it's just like, well,
Is it a perception?
I don't know. Maybe you have to be crazy to be successful. Because,
Who's he married to?
Kim Kardashian. They're
Oh,
called
there you go.
Kimye.
So let's answer that question again. Is he crazy? Who would marry Kim Kardashian?
He would.
Well, obviously he loves her. But what's he up to? What's he done? So he's basically told everyone he's rich and he's
Yeah, well,
proved...
it's brilliant because he was only on the verge of bankruptcy quite a few years ago. So
Oh,
it's very
okay.
fascinating to see how someone can really change their entire life and become so successful so quickly.
Well, let's wish him all the best. Let's hope he stays rich for a while.
Oh, I'm sure. He
And,
will, when he becomes
Kanye
our next
West.
president.
Yep.
Easy.
And Kim Kardashian, of course, she announced that the show was ending, wasn't
That's
it?
right. It's over.
Thank God
One
for
more
that.
season. Yeah.
Can't wait to the Real Housewives of Melbourne and Sydney
I
come
can't
back.
stand all of these shows. I just
Do you-
want reality
are
TV
you
to
sick of
end.
them? Are you
I
sick of all
can't
the
watch
Bachelorette?
chefs. houses being
two
built.
sisters now
Yeah.
on Bachelorette. Please, what
Yeah.
next, Channel 10? What are you going to think of next?
Yeah.
Me on maybe The Bachelor? Get the hint, 10? Local? Anyway, you never know. The flatulent instead of the blatulent. Anyway, thank you very much. Maybe we can both go on The Bachelor.
Sounds classy.
Yeah, very. Anything else to talk about?
The West Australian
Opera.
Well, we'll get classy now. The West Australian Opera is obviously coming back with their big production of Così fan tutte.
Così fanno tutte. What's
Così fan tutte
everybody
is an
doing?
Italian one, that's right. By Mozart. Do you know Mozart?
I do, yes.
Good friend
Not
of yours.
personally.
Yeah.
I've got him on Instagram. He follows
yeah.
me. But this is interesting. Are you involved in this?
Yes, I get to be one of the actors in it, so I'm really looking
Is that
forward
you?
to it. Yeah, that's
About
me.
to kiss the beautiful woman.
Yeah, the actors we don't have as big a role as
Either that
kind
or
of
you're
the
saying,
ensembles.
is that a blackhead? Fantastic. When does this come out?
This is in October. We're looking at October 24th to 31st, 4
Mm-hmm.
performances. So definitely book tickets to see that because they're using all local singers here in
And
WA.
Paul O'Neill was on the show last week.
Oh,
He's an
fantastic.
amazing opera
Yeah,
performer.
the tenor.
So I'm really
Yes.
glad. Yes, he's just an amazing singer.
Yes.
So I'm really looking forward to seeing that.
And
to be
some
quite honest
other
with you.
very talented ones too. We've got Ashlyn Timms, Prudence Sanders, Sam
Robert
Roberts-Smith, James Clayton, and Penny Shaw as Despina.
Some beautiful people.
Yeah,
and,
very talented.
So do you get to speak Italian in this?
Yeah, it's all in Italian.
Beautiful,
but,
because you've got an Italian background.
I know it's good. I can actually understand it.
Can you
for
do a
once.
little bit of your line?
Oh,
Pretend
well,
I'm
I
that-
just say things just like
I'm the woman. in
I just
that-
say like grazie, prego, because it's all like off stage, so you don't want to because they're singing. So like
Oh, are you an opera singer?
no,
Oh, good.
But I can.
You can sing.
I
if you
wish.
have to. Mariah Carey's a great singer.
She's a fantastic singer.
Since she left James Packer, she's picked up her life, and it's really moving forward, isn't
She's
it?
talking about that in her book
A
that
lot.
she's releasing.
A lot.
And apparently they didn't have a physical relationship. So even with
I
$1 billion,
heard that.
she still won't
There
touch
was no
him.
sex.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? And he gave her such a big ring.
Yeah.
And yet-
all of that. She's an
What do you
interesting
make
one.
of something like that? Like you would think. I mean, I've seen James Packer, so I can understand why there's no physical not being nasty. But I mean, hey, being an oil painting myself.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that she actually came out and said there was no
Yeah,
physical
'cause
relationship.
She's someone who's actually quite Christian as well, so she's always been very specific. with
Very
that.
lucky too that she's
And she-
Christian and doesn't do first night type things.
Yeah, yeah.
But look, she's doing well. She's got a brand new book. She's
Yes.
she's got how many number ones did you say?
I'm pretty sure over 8 number
Yeah.
one singles.
And she's doing well. She's picked herself up. She's
Yeah.
she was on a downer for a while, but she's actually picked herself up and doing really well now.
Yeah, and the book reveals a lot of other secrets to do with her
tell us
relationship
some
with
of
her
it.
first husband, which was Tommy Mottola, the president of Sony BMG.
Oh, really? That
Apparently,
was
he took
her
a
first-
knife out on her when he found out that she cheated on him with Derek Jeter, the baseball player.
So there's a little bit of a track record there.
Yeah, she's had quite a hard life actually.
So I don't know if
it's
maybe
not all as
James
glamorous
Packer
as you
actually benefited from no physical contact. Interesting. So is that all from Mariah Carey?
That's all from
We can-
Mariah Carey, but I'm sure she'll be back in the news in
I
some
bet
stage.
you at Christmas she'll be singing "All I Want for Christmas is
Every
You."
year.
Every year it comes out, and every year she
can
makes
live
the
off the
squealing
residual.
out
She
of it.
doesn't need it.
Fantastic. Anything else you're up to? Any shows that you're doing apart from the one that you're
I
talking?
got to do a cool thing with Clean Heat where I was going and interviewing people. That was really
Another
fun.
West Australian
Yeah,
company.
Truly
Fantastic.
WA.
I'm
it
with
was called.
Clean Heat, so I'm
I'm
happy
all
for you to
about
promote it.
WA stuff.
Well done. This is Alexander Sacosta. People, please follow him. He's got his own website. I think we put it up on screen, but it's alexandersacosta.com. It was up on the screen. Or check it out through our links on our website. Thank you for coming in today.
Thank you, Fred. Always
We'll
a
see you
pleasure.
on maybe on our last show, I think, on the 1st of
Looking forward
November.
to it. Nice.
Look forward to it. Time now for some music. Kay DeLuca is performing for us. Here Comes the Sun. And then we've got a fantastic story with Nisha doing massage on a dog. Stay tuned. Here's Kay DeLuca.
Here comes the sun, do 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 do. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Little darling.
Music to my ears. Thank you very much to the young Cade DeLuca. You can be just like Cade if you'd like to be part of the show next year. Contact us. We'd love to have any talent next year. If you think you've got a little bit of a segment for us, entertainer, musician, a magician, anything at all, a dancer, get in contact with us for next year. Time now to talk about giving some nice therapy to your pet dogs with a fantastic young lady called Melody. But with her is our very own presenter, Nisha Seth. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Fred. And so excited to have Melody on the couch with us.
Thanks,
and
Nisha.
your business is called In Touch with Dog.
Yes.
And I have to introduce little Tyke as well. Welcome, Tyke. And he'll turn around at some stage and give you a wink. There we go. He's going to turn around with the treats.
Yeah.
So very cute. So, Melody, you have had this business for a while now, and it's
Yes.
something very close to your heart. How did you start it? What was the story behind it?
So it started 7 years ago. I had my own dog that was struggling with some issues, some mobility issues, and he wasn't really responding very well to medication and other therapy. So I ended up looking into getting him some acupuncture treatment,
Yes.
and he did really well on that. And so then it just made me look into
He's having a good time.
alternative therapies.
Yeah.
He's eaten all the treats now. It made me look into alternative therapies, and so that's how I became to explore acupuncture, acupressure, and then into remedial massage or myotherapy.
Yeah, and I love your slogan, a healing hand for our best friends, because for all of us, a lot of us love our pets. We've got family, but pets are very much like our family a lot of the time.
They are.
So,
Some might say they're better than family.
and it's, well, that's it. They don't talk back, they bark. And we didn't mic you up today, Tyke. But so in terms of the service you offer, you're mobile too. So I love how much empathy you have when pets are maybe in a bit of pain after they've either come out of surgery or they're going to go in.
Yeah.
Tell us about what you do.
So it's to help dogs primarily with mobility issues. So if they've had a surgery where they've had or orthopedic surgery, for example, or even if it's just like an age-related condition like arthritis, myotherapy can help loosen up all the joints and ligaments. It focuses on the soft tissue, so muscle, ligaments, tendons, that sort of thing. And I found by travelling around and going to people's houses, it makes it much easier for the dog.
Yeah,
Because then they're able to relax after the therapy, because relaxation is a natural byproduct or a happy byproduct
Yes.
of the therapy as well. So in that sense, it's also good for dogs that might be struggling with things like anxiety. It interrupts that anxious process.
Yeah.
So there's so many benefits to it.
And in turn, great for the owners as well, because you know that your little best friend is being, bless you, is being taken care of. So in terms of the therapy itself, how long does it go for, or does that depend on what you're doing?
Usually it will go for an hour. Sometimes, depending on what condition that we're treating, it can be a little bit less.
Yeah.
But yeah, an hour is usually like the average length of a therapy session.
Oh, wonderful. And you've had lots of great testimonials, I'm sure. What are people's sort of feedback after they've had their little best friend taken care of?
A lot of people are surprised about just how significant the changes can be. A lot of people, when they think of massage, might think it's a bit of a fluffy thing, but actually the health benefits are quite significant. And I've seen some dogs have some really good results
Wonderful.
after only a couple of sessions. So Tyke is a good example, and his companion in the same household is an even a great example too, because she had surgery on her knees and her hips, and she was really quite tight and sore when we first met, and she was on anti-inflammatories for a long time too.
Yeah, so I fully appreciate that you spend a long time with these little beautiful things. I work with people as a psych, so I like beautiful things. But can you show us, and it's not going to be something you can show long, but where would you touch or any kind of massage for, let's say, Tyke, for example? What would your steps be, just to give people an idea?
Normally when I would start out, I would start off just doing some calming movements, so more therapeutic massage techniques to begin with before you start getting into all the remedial techniques. That will also give me a chance
looks like
to sort
you're
of
enjoying that.
it will also give me a chance to sort of feel what's going on underneath the fur and see where there's some problem areas.
Yes.
So, yeah, usually I'd start sort of at the base of the skull, sort of on the back of the neck, and sort of work my way down. It's not a dynamic thing to watch, to be honest with you.
And we understand that. Like, I think it sounds though from you're very thorough, so you do an initial assessment,
Yes.
and then you're able to work out what each individual pet needs, so you can do that. So that's wonderful, Melody. In terms of where you go, because you were saying before you do travel all around WA.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
So tell us a few of the regions so that our audience know, particularly here in WA, where they can go.
Yep. So at the moment I cover Perth, Mandurah, Rockingham, the Great Southern region, so Katanning, Kojonup. I also go down to the south where Albany, Bridgetown, Dunsborough. So
Wow.
I cover quite a big area of of
Very
Western
good.
Australia.
Okay, so obviously great benefits for your little best friend. If I can get you to look at the camera now and talk us through how we can get in touch with you, that would be wonderful, and we're getting excited.
Come back. The best way is through my website, www.intouchwithdog.com.au. I've also put links on there for information for people that might want to know specifically what conditions that they might benefit from, their dogs might benefit from. And I've also written an e-course for people who want to learn a few therapeutic techniques for themselves, just to practice on their dogs at home. And that's also linked on my website as well.
And very quickly, is there anything you want to offer our audience?
Yes. So I'd like to offer some free consultations.
Wonderful,
and
what an
some
opportunity.
sessions for viewers of the couch. And if it's in an area that I'm not actually able to visit, if it's outside of the WA regions that I visit, then I'm going to offer a 50% off the e-course that I just mentioned.
Wonderful. And Fred will talk to that and have some information on our website as well. So thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate your
Thank
time.
you for having me.
Thank you, Tyke. You're so cute. And we look forward to having you back on the couch sometime very soon.
Oh, thank you very much.
But yeah, I'll pass back over to Fred now.
Thank you, Nisha. I wanted to ask you a question, Melody. What you do, is it very similar to a chiropractic type person or physio? Do you have to do a course like that to learn?
Yeah. So I did a certificate in canine myotherapy, and then I did a diploma in canine rehabilitation.
And have you ever
after
been bitten by a dog that doesn't want you to massage them?
I've been lucky. I've had a few dogs where they've reacted, but I've been able to read their body language before anything bad's happened. And usually that's because they're guarding themselves because they're
And
in
one
pain.
more question for you. Those people watching this are saying, oh, it's easy with a small dog. Do you do big dogs as well as small?
Yes, definitely.
So you can do bigger dogs. So don't worry out there. If you're worried that it's only for little dogs, it's for all dogs.
That's right.
Put her to the test. Ring Melody up. We are giving away, is it 2? We're going to give away 2 of the sessions?
3 sessions.
Three
and
sessions,
yes.
not only 2,
I
3
know.
sessions. I'll give you details at the end of the show how you can win those 3 sessions. Thank you very much for being here today.
Thanks,
Good
Fred.
luck with all your business activities, and I look forward to having you back on the couch next year as well.
Oh, thank you very much.
Well
thank
done.
You.
We're going to take a break on the couch. We will give you details at the end of the segment. Bitchin's coming up next. Stay tuned. We'll see you then.
Connect with the couch online through Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
Welcome back to the couch. I hope you're enjoying the program. It's been a busy show so far. We've got more for you now. We've got a fantastic special guest. His name is Dean Dyer. He's talking about mental health when it comes to men, and with him is Nisha Seth.
Thank you, Fred. And a friend of the couch, Dean Dyer, welcome back.
Thank you. It's great to be back again.
Dean, you work in such an important area. So you're a mental health and wellbeing consultant here, but working particularly with men's health.
Focusing on men, especially men's health and wellbeing, yes.
When we had you on the show last, we were talking about there was a launch of the West Australian Men's Health
That's
and Wellbeing
right,
Policy,
yeah.
which long overdue, but you put a lot of work into this along with a lot of other advocates here in Western Australia. Talk to us a bit about what you've been doing up to now and where we are now.
Well, a lot's happened in 16 months. So I think the policy has made some impression.
Yes.
Which is good. It needed to. It was the first one specifically about men's health and wellbeing, men and boys, young men as well as boys. Progress since then, hard to tell, but I see anecdotal things that are happening from time to time that gives me the message that I think more and more people and organisations are starting to think yes, this is important. So that's good.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really important that we were talking about gender before the show, and that, you know, we've got both females and males, feminine and masculine energy, and it's really important that we all support each other with mental health in general. COVID-19 has brought some unprecedented changes. You know, I use that word a lot, but we have men particularly who perhaps have been staying at home, just like a lot of women. But if they've already got mental health symptoms, what types of, I guess, challenges can they have now, do you think? Or
Look,
heightened?
I think the pandemic and the shutdown, I mean, nationwide more. I mean, we're very lucky here in WA.
Yeah.
Virtually COVID-free. I think the only state to have $1 billion surplus in our state budget. I mean, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, the poor Victorian cousins are not doing so well. And so I think the statistics in Melbourne would be far worse currently.
Yes. Well, I heard Beyond Blue, actually, they've doubled, so their budget has obviously been increased. But with men's health, I'm sure you can appreciate that I think a lot of the calls are coming from Melbourne, but also perhaps in your experience, a lot of men are starting to reach out a little bit more, or the pressures have increased.
Yes, look, that's one of the good things, I think, is that more men are reaching out, more men are taking advantage of some of the services and the help that's available to them. Not just around their mental health, but physical health. It's pretty hard to separate the physical health and the mental health because they overlap from time to time.
Absolutely.
If you've got a physical health problem, that's going to impact on your mental health and vice versa. But yeah, to answer your question, or the fact that men are reaching out more it's a good sign. So if the 1-800 numbers and the various health service providers are getting busier, I think it's a good sign.
In Western Australia, how do you think the health providers are doing? So are there a lot of resources, any campaigns that you've seen happening that have really increased the awareness of mental health for men?
I think there's a lot of work that still needs to be done, but there's two that I've seen that I think deserve some credit.
Sure.
One is Healthier Workplace WA, which obviously focuses on people in the workplaces being healthier and more well at work. And in their newsletter recently, they had a whole segment allocated to men's health and, was it men's mental health? I can't remember, but raising awareness about men's health in the workplace. So that's the first one I've seen of that type. So that's one thing that I think that's a good initiative, and yay, which is what they spoke about in the policy. So more initiatives that encourage men and designed for men and the different languages and ways that men think and communicate.
And what I love, sorry to interrupt, but particularly because I know this about you, is you're so passionate. It's not just the 20 years that you've been working in this space, but you yourself have worked in sort of the trades area as well. And you did mention to me, and I'm sure you won't mind me mentioning it to the audience, that the opportunity to actually communicate at a level that is understood, particularly with men, as opposed to being a corporate presenter. You know, we all have our different strengths, but the way we engage is so important, isn't it? I think that's a really important message to put across.
Absolutely, and men, especially working class men, have a language, have a communication style. And sadly, I think a lot of the health professionals who tend to be academics, they have a communication style, and those two tend not to meet.
Yes.
So I like to think of myself as an interpreter. So I'll take the information in documents like that and all this stuff as well that's massive. And then I'll go and I'll stand in front of a room full of guys in high vis or working class blokes, and I can speak to them in ways that they understand and appreciate. Also, I've got a lot of empathy and compassion for those men because I used to be one of those blokes in the field, so to speak, and really struggling and not knowing where to go or how to reach out or how to get help. So that message is getting across. The other one that I wanted to mention was the Mental Health Commission's campaign, Think Mental Health WA. Where they've got the two ads with the men in them. Brilliant. That's really
so that's the one with
really
the gentleman at a barbecue and checking in on his mate.
That's right.
One of them. Yeah.
And the second one with the guy in the backyard yelling at the kids, and the kids run off, and he's sitting there all forlorn, and the wife walks out of the house and checks in with him, and just says, "Look, you know, we can sort this out together." I think that is one of the best messages.
Very real. It resonates.
It's
and I have to say, I've seen some of Dean's presentations, and they really put mental health into like a positive, proactive frame, but very real. So you've got one chart I've seen that really just talks very simply to how am I well, how am I maybe getting more challenged, how do I know? And
Yeah.
that's often the hardest thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
We all think, oh, we're okay, she'll be right, sort of that mateship sort of
Until something
philosophy.
breaks.
That's
And then
it.
it's too late. So
Yeah.
if men especially can learn the signs and the signals earlier, then we can do something about it then, fix it.
Yes, and the supporters. So, partners, kids, your colleagues, the Are You OK campaign has certainly done a lot in that space. Any other sort of supports that you've heard of that you think are useful?
No, those two are the main ones that I'd seen.
I think
They're noteworthy.
Lifeline are continuing to do a good job, and Black Dog Institute as well.
Men's
Yeah.
Line Australia
Yes.
has got a brand new website. They must have got some funding from Canberra or something,
Yes.
but their website now is fantastic.
So COVID-19, active recovery here in Western Australia, but still quite a challenge on the East Coast. What are maybe some of the some advice or some key actions you can give everyone out there around men's health, or what do we need to watch out for?
Look, I think obviously the pandemic and the economic situation is putting extra stress and pressure on men, young men, boys, and I think that they need to potentially a couple of things. Make we're making choices all the time about our health and our well-being, the food we eat, how much exercise we get or not, how much sleep we get or not, etc. So I think encouraging men and boys to be aware of that and making incremental changes. So making a small choice in the positive direction around my health and well-being choices, which boils down to good rest, good food, some exercise, watch your stress levels, don't smoke, drink in moderation. I mean, they're common messages. But a lot of men don't really pay much attention to those.
And you use that terminology of a coil, don't you? Like we get so wound up inside that we need to get used to sort of letting go of things that don't serve us.
Well, if that spring winds up so tight, and then something comes along, a stressor that we didn't think was going to affect us, but comes along, and then we're so wound up, so tight about it, it's pretty easy to bang down on that.
Yes.
But if that internal spring is a lot more relaxed, then the thing that causes the stress comes along. We're not in that high state of anxiety or reactivity.
So we need strategies along the way.
Absolutely.
And a lot of the guys listening out there are so many experts, strategies, people you can talk to. Where can we find out more from your perspective?
I've got you can Google. These days you can just about Google anything.
Yes.
People could...
We love Google.
You can type a name into Google and type my name into Google, you'll find
Just not
me.
what's my name. You need to know your own name.
Internal loop. There is an awful lot of information out there. I'd encourage people to seek it out. And don't be... If you're a man out there, don't be afraid of stepping out and reaching out and asking that question.
And we've got your website up there, and you're on LinkedIn as well.
Yes.
Yep, so deandyer.com.au.
If they want to speak to me. But, I mean, look, I'm not a health professional. I'm an educator, and this is the field that I educate in. So...
Well, look, Dean, you're very humble. I think you're a champion in this
thank you.
space. You've been working in it for decades. You're a man as well, like I said before, so that's really important to resonate, and it's a really important, impactful area. So well done on all the work, and you're always welcome here on the couch.
Excellent.
We're looking forward to having you back. But yeah, have a great next few weeks before our next set of shows start next year.
Thanks, Nisha.
Okay, wonderful. Now, of course, if you've missed any of that, you can go to thecouch.com.au or our Facebook page. But thank you to Dean, and back to you, Fred.
Thank you, Nisha, and thank you to Dean for coming in today. Some key figures that are really important here in WA. Men die 6 years earlier than women. Heart disease, biggest killer of men. Men account for 80% of the year's life host. 75% of suicides are men. 155 road facilities are males. 38 are female, and 95% of workplace fatalities are male, and 65% of unemployed men unemployed people are men. So there's some really big figures, and for those people who probably didn't realise the problem was that big, it is quite big. So thank you very much to Dean for coming in today, and hopefully you'll get in touch if you want more information. There's a lot of people out there to support men's mental health. You just need to ask your friends, and friends need to keep in touch. Like Nisha said, are you okay? Is there a problem? If you notice a problem, try and help your friends. Talking sometimes is the best way of dealing with things to start with. Now, Steve Collins is back on the couch. He's talking property. Over to you, Steve.
Thank you very much, Fred. When you mention expert and me in the same breath, you know that there's something wrong. But Fred, we're here today to talk about our Talking Property podcast, which is now online and has been online for several weeks now. We've done several programs. It's been going really, really well. And I have two of the crew. We've got a main team of three. Harvey Deegan, who a lot of people know from 6PR, and we have from First National, Jordan Shed. We have Rob Jewett, and also from De Freitas and Ryan, we have Rod Ryan. Hi guys, how you going? Good to see you again.
Great, Steve.
Have you been out selling houses today?
I have.
Home
but
opens and all that?
I've been trying, but we've almost sold everything.
Because the problem at the moment is that it's been going gangbusters.
It is.
In WA, and there's not a lot of stock, is there?
No, it's reducing all the time as well. We need more.
And you do two totally different areas. Rob,
I'm
you're
principally
around
north of the river.
Yep, yep.
And, well,
South of
Rod's
the river.
you've got an office both Wanneroo City and down Rockingham, haven't you?
You've got quite a few offices, haven't you?
Yes,
Rod?
we have. We've got 5. But one of them's commercial,
You
4
could take
residential.
over First National Jordan Shed if you
No,
like.
Rob does more business out of his one than we do out of our 5.
Is that right?
I don't know about that, but I'll tell you what we need now. We need stock in the market.
You do.
Everything's selling. Practically
Well,
everything's selling.
but that's good. And also, I know that you don't just sell; you have rental properties as well. And I believe that they're as scarce as hen's teeth as well at the moment. Is that right?
Very much so. Very much so. The rates are down, Rob, under 1%, they're saying now.
The vacancy rate, which means, there's only 1 in 100 properties available. So it's
That's
small
amazing,
numbers.
isn't it? Because certainly about a year ago, I knew that there were rental properties everywhere. There were several rental properties in my street, which took months to get tenants in. So that's a big change.
Well, out of our office in Southlake, at one stage there 2 years ago, the rentals were coming down by around about 25%. So if a property was renting for $400 a week, the price had come down to $300 a week. But out of about 700 rental properties, we had over 100, about 106, I think was as bad as we got, that were available for rent. So today, our figures have changed. It's increased from 700, but the rental prices have bounced back. They're now starting to increase. And you can't do that with sitting tenants at the moment. But any new properties that are coming on, the rentals have definitely increased. And the ones where the tenants have vacated and they've come available, those particular properties are now at increased rent level. There's not very much at all available for rent. We've probably got about 10, I suppose, out of 700.
It must be a huge surprise and shock to you, really, because when COVID first started and everything started shutting down in March, you guys probably seriously thought that, is my business going to survive? And now not only are you surviving, but you're actually thriving.
Thriving. That's right. It's literally gone from the sublime to the ridiculous. Amazing, because if you think back to end of March, beginning of April, we thought we were going to go into a lockdown.
I suppose you had, what staff do we hold on to? What staff do we get rid of? All that sort of stuff?
And we thought, well, we've had 5 years of a receding market. It was just starting to improve. At the end of last year, in January, February, we could see this slight upswing in the market. Rental vacancies had come down dramatically. And prices were just starting to move, and then of course the pandemic came along. But that's all changed. All the pandemic has done really is pause the market, and there's an underlying groundswell there in Western Australia. Now the figures haven't been out yet, which have shown that prices have gone up. But the next lot of figures will come out which will show that, and hopefully that'll bring out some sellers in the market who say, right, okay, we've been waiting to sell for months, years, now's our chance.
Guys, sorry to interrupt, Steve. Just a quick question, it just came to mind. The rental market.
Yes.
What's happened there? Because I've had a whole heap of my friends say to me, oh my God, Fred, there's no rental properties left in Balga. They're all gone. There's only a couple for sale as well. But the rents have gone up $30 to $50. Is that something we can expect to happen now because the economy is getting back on track?
It is happening. It has been happening now for probably, 6 months, Rob, would it be?
Very much so. And we were a little bit blindsided when the state government continued the COVID restrictions, because the reality is it's only about 2% of people, Fred, that are affected by the COVID. So 98% of rentals are not affected. Now, the reality of this is that this is going to exacerbate and make the problem a lot worse with the rentals, because the market reacts and adapts. And when rental prices go back up, people go out of single habitation and go into cohabitation.
Correct.
And at the moment, they're not going to do that. They'll sit pretty and go, well...
Because I'm worried about all those people that were getting an extra, the extra bonus for the unemployment job seeker, the $550. That's going. And a lot of those people have signed up to new leases. And I'm worried if they go up again. Is there an amount that they're allowed to put up the leases at the end of the term? Is it 5%, 10%?
It's by market.
It's by market.
So it can be 20, it can be 30, it could be 50, depends on the market. So is it a good time now, if people have come to the end of their lease, to try and renegotiate before it blows out of the water?
Very much
and
so.
maybe do a 12-month extension at a little bit extra?
Except you cannot increase the rent in this COVID restriction period.
Really? So you're stuck with that rule by the government?
You're stuck with it. So it's extended for that whole period and right through now to 28th of March. So the difficulty we'll have is that we'll have this big differential between existing rentals and where the market is, and it might be $50, $100 a week.
Because a lot of people are also confused with that money that the government's giving people.
But that's ending.
That's ending as well. Yes. And the people, the $150,000 that they have to spend to renovate their house to get that home bonus, whatever you call it, a lot of people don't qualify for that, because a lot of people are saying if we can afford $150,000 to renovate our toilet or kitchen, we don't need the bonus. So there's a lot of confusion out there with all these so-called bonuses or help that the government's providing. Are you seeing that from a real estate point of view?
Oh, very much. As soon as first we had the federal stimulus, which was the $25,000, but there were some restrictions around that. And then it was literally, wasn't it, Rod, maybe within a week of that, the state government announced their $20,000. Now, the $20,000 is a lot more relaxed. It purely relates to a vacant block of land. As many vacant blocks as you've got individual title, you can get $20,000. So developers, it's a big encouragement, provided that you sign a building contract before 31st of December and you get it underway into the new year. So it's had a major stimulus in the market.
So who do people contact? Can they contact real estate people like yourself to find out information if they're interested in buying a house and want to see what sort of entitlements they've got as first homeowners?
Very much so. Either ourselves, the finance brokers are fully conversant with it as well, of course.
Good to know.
Which is very important to know.
We did have a chap on our podcast, Peter Urze from Select Mortgage Services.
Oh, beautiful.
And he just outlined it all in detail.
So
and we all learnt something out of that, and it was excellent.
And what I learnt was there is so much funding available.
If
for
people
all
just know, people don't know exactly what it is.
I think that's exactly right.
Amazing.
I think one of the big things is whenever the government, they try to do the right thing, but whenever they sort of interfere with the market, you get these sort of spin-offs that, you know, tend to sort of muck everything up a little bit.
And I think
at
also,
the moment, we've got a number of owners of properties that we manage, and they're all in anticipation now of waiting
to see what
for
happens.
this, you know, to increase the rent. You know, whereas if it was more relaxed, that wouldn't be necessarily the case.
And I don't know
no
if you
date
agree, but do you think also the state and Commonwealth need to come together and give it to one, either the state or the Commonwealth? Because for me, it's so confusing to know what the state covers, what the Commonwealth covers. I mean, I would love to see a loan where the government is saying is trying to get the banks to take away the red tape so that more people can take out loans. But why doesn't the government just do one simple thing? Create a national housing commission, allow us to apply for a loan through that commission. The government can guarantee the loan, do the normal policy for deposits. The government can then say, well, we're not losing anything, because if Fred doesn't pay his house, the state or the Commonwealth will always own that house until Fred pays it.
What federal seat are you going to be standing for, Fred?
Well, I'm hoping the seat of Perth, maybe. But that's what I don't understand, why we don't create... The government's funding everything. Why not just get real Fed income and actually provide loans to people? Because they're saying a lot of people don't qualify for loans, but yet they can pay $500 a week rent. And the banks are saying, well, we don't care. But I think that's where they're going wrong. They should actually try and fund the whole house, less the deposit, make sure it's affordable. And if people have issues, clearly they're not going to qualify for a loan, but then the government doesn't lose, because they will always own that house as a public asset. And I think it could be a fantastic new venture for the government.
But see, one of the things we forget about, you go back 2 or 3 years ago, and I know this was in the case in my family, you know, where my children, for example, would have a loan, and they would be anxious every time the Reserve Bank came around to sort of talk about the interest rates. And that was like...
That's still the case, but isn't it?
But
a month after we bought our house, the interest rates went up to 19%. That was in the 1980s.
Yeah.
They got it pretty easy today, I can tell you that right now.
But people are still worried, even at that 2 or 3%. The problem is, if you don't have a job, if you're one of those people that have been put off and don't have a job, how are you going to ever pay off any mortgage at any rate? And that's the biggest problem that governments aren't understanding is it's okay to lessen the rules and to give all these bonuses and give all this help. But if those people are the ones that have been put off by Qantas or Coles or Woolworths or Bankwest or whoever it might be,
They're not gonna be able to pay a mortgage.
they're not going to be able to pay a mortgage. So there's something there that people slip through the cracks.
It's a fine balance, and our financial system is actually well balanced, and there is actually quite a lot of funding available. But it's also got to be available for people to repay the loans back.
Correct.
So, and the government does provide specific stimulus. They do that at the moment with first home buyers, with helping them. But it is important not to get people into to buy properties that they can't afford to repay
and that's
the
my
loans
worry.
back to.
There's a lot of people that are going through loan sharks, brokers. They make their little cut on the side, but then they get stuck with a $600,000 loan. And I'll give you the example that I found in the people I talk to on radio. A lot of people are taking out mortgages, say for $500,000, getting the loan. Then they get into trouble because one person loses their job, and then they go and try and sell the house, and the house is worth $100,000 less than the mortgage.
That's right.
Houses are not worth what they used to be, so you're going to still be left with a debt after you lose your house. So
This is the cycle we've been through in the last 5 years. However, it's turning around.
Let's hope so.
And so we've
Can
had
I say
5 years
this-
of receding market, and now we're starting to see
This
it.
is also a conversation we have in Australia because by international standards, we have a very, very high rate of home ownership, don't we?
Yeah, we do. The whole thing about having your own home in Australia is still very much alive. But you don't have to own a home.
Look, I agree with you. I agree that we don't have to.
Otherwise,
own
we wouldn't
our-
have investors
Exactly.
who have investment properties. We need
Exactly.
tenants too.
Look, I'm 100%, but I think the government needs to be more direct, more open, and have a lot more advice for people, not just come out, give all this money and then run away, and then everyone says, well, who do I go to? Where do I go? They need to have one phone number, one agency that can field all those calls. I mean, it is so confusing for people who are young home buyers or anyone that's trying to get into the market.
It's confusing for everyone in the industry too, Fred.
I think
because
so.
it was policy on the run. And they just said, right, we're going to have this 20,000, it's 25,000. There's a broad range of the guidelines. Go for it.
Exactly.
And then you go start to look at the specifics and try and work it out.
Oh, we've definitely been talking property. Steve, did you have anything else you wanted to say?
Well, I would just like to
Go for
say
you've got a couple of minutes.
talkingproperty.net.au. As I say, we've done several shows so far, and there's always a great educational section.
Yep.
We've discussed strata, we've discussed finance, we've discussed law, we've just discussed so many things. And we also invite our listeners to send in questions, and there's a little bit on our website. There's a questionnaire. You can send us a question, and we'll answer it.
How often does the podcast happen?
Well,
Is it a week?
we record it. We record it every week.
So if you write in now, you'll be hopefully part of the next one or the one after that.
Oh,
so
we'd
you'll
love to
still.
get some.
we'd love to get some questions.
Fantastic.
We ask people to put their phone number there because we'd like to ring them up as
Beautiful.
well, because that way we know that they can hear that their question has been answered.
Look, property is a big part of everyone's life at the moment. Everyone needs somewhere to live. Everyone wants to be safe, whether they've had to sell their property and go out and rent or build a new property. And I think the fact that you guys make it a lot clearer, having your experts on the podcast and being able to get you on the phone too for information. So thank you very much. Steve, did you want to just quickly wrap it up?
Yes, I certainly do. Thanks very much, Fred. Yes, listen to our podcast. It's online. It's on Facebook at Talking Property Podcast, or you can go to our website, which is talkingproperty.net.au. And as I said, if you want to ask a question, there's a little questionnaire there you can fill in. We're also available on Spotify, Google Play, etc. There's a whole pile of platforms. So whatever your favourite platform is, look for Talking Property, and you'll get so much information about real estate in general.
Thank you very much. Thanks
And
to
where
Steve.
to buy shirts from as well.
And where to buy shirts from.
right.
Good. Little bit of a side off.
Yeah, we do. We
Thank you
don't
to
only
Rob.
in my size.
Thank you to Rob. Thank you very much. Please support them.
Wonderful.
Thank you to Steve. Nice
Thanks,
to
Fred.
see you back in the studio as well. We'll have another one of these wonderful segments. We might even do it on our last show in November. See if we can get the team back in again. But please support them. They do some great work, and it's definitely helpful for the market. We'll take a break. Be back with more of The Couch right after this.
Connect with The Couch online through Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
Welcome back to the couch. Bitchin's coming up very soon with our favourite people. But you saw Jenny Brockes earlier on. Fantastic book. This is the new one. And we're giving away 5 of these books. If you would like to win one of them, anywhere in Australia, we'll post it out to you. All you need to do is put your name and address on an SMS, 0439 929 929, 0439 929 929. Just your name and address, please, on that SMS. Put book on there so I know that you're writing in for the book, and we'll send that out for the first 5 people who SMS us. Thank you very much, and you can always get the book at great bookstores as well. Thriving Minds. Thank you very much. Time to talk bitchin'. Let's go through our panel today. We've got Chris Ilsley from 882 6PR Perth tonight. Welcome back.
Thriving Minds. I think I'm going to need that book because my mind does lots of things.
I've got
thrive
5 of
is
them.
Not one.
Jen Merrigan
evening.
from haveagonews.com. Welcome back. I was just about to do it. I knew she'd jump in. Thank you very much for coming in today, Jen. And of
Be
course,
careful if it's only haveagonews.com.
Ted Bull.
God only knows what you'll
from
find.
anything he wants to be part of.
Thank you.
And Ted, you're a legend of television and radio. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for making the time.
And today, well, actually, I'm talking about something that's thriving too. Something that possibly may be keeping you awake at night. It's a story that came out during the week about people's sheets.
This is an interesting one, so we'll let you tell us about it.
Okay.
People who put their sheets over their head and do stupid things.
No, it's worse than that. This is a story that claims that if you don't wash your sheets for 12 months, there will be 5 kilos of flaky, fleshy creatures on your sheets. 5 kilos. Imagine.
This is your camera, by the way.
Oh, if you did well. Hello, camera. If you didn't wash your sheets for 5 years, you would lose 5 kilos.
So much skin, isn't it, and dust.
Well, it's all these things. Plus,
Could
it's
you
worse.
imagine the size of the dust mites by that time? You'd have to have a fight to get into.
But imagine also if you added crumbs from people who eat their breakfast in their sheets, you could wrap it up and send it to Victoria as a food parcel, couldn't you?
You could. Thank you very much. Such a
You'd
generous
send
man.
the bed bugs as carriers
Well,
of COVID-19.
now that you mention bed bugs,
Yep.
just listen to this. Professor John Blakey from Charlie's here,
Yeah, yep,
he's one
good.
of us, has said if you didn't wash your bedding for a year, there'd be that 5 kilos. However, it gets worse. Little microscopic dust mite, anthropods like spiders, thrive on these skin cells, particularly on pillows because they love the humid environment. More than 10% of the weight of the manky pillows will be hundreds of thousands of dusty
Well,
mites.
there you go.
And
romantic.
worse still, they're dropping.
This is a serious thing. Have any of
You've got all
you
these giant bed bugs taking a dump in your bed.
have any of you watched the guy? What's the
your
cook?
class
Gordon
sometimes.
Ramsay. Gordon Ramsay does that thing where he goes around the hotels, and he actually does that with the beds. And you should see the amount of dirt, body fluids,
parts.
and everything. There's so much.
Can you imagine a forensic examination in the average hotel room?
I can tell you now, Dyson's not going to do it.
However, in defence of Australia, our bed bug problem isn't that problem as it is elsewhere. And have you ever seen a picture of a bed bug close up? They make Quasimodo look like George Clooney.
Well, So what do we
they
need to
really
do?
are. They're the ugliest
They
creatures.
are. I must say, they look like something you could create for Doctor Who, actually.
So, Ted, is there a solution to this problem?
Yeah, wash your
wash
bed
your
with it.
sheets.
How often?
Yeah.
I do mine every 2 weeks. I don't know if that's too much.
Oh, shock no. You've got to do it every week.
Well, you come over and do my laundry as well. As long as you wear a little maid's outfit, and I'll give you the eye. But you must wear underwear. Ted, I don't need
Do
you.
you mean I have to give up the leather gig I've got?
I want my clothes pressed with the
not going to
iron.
be unseen.
Sounds good. So you're going to clean your sheets, folks, because those bed bugs can really harm you. Let's move on to Jen.
Oh, yeah.
They should be don't let the bed bugs feast.
I'm talking back to crazy America.
What happened? This is another Karen, isn't it?
Honestly, Americans are crazy and they've just gone crazier lately.
Tell us the story.
So this woman who decides that she has more rights than everybody else and goes into a Californian pet store without wearing a mask. So the young chap who works in a pet store who has the name of Aiden Bearpaw.
Yeah. These are real names, by the way, real stories.
Recorded the tense encounter and posted it to Facebook.
She abused him, basically.
Yeah, she
didn't
abused him, saying it was her God-given right and she had a religious exemption that she didn't have to wear a mask, even though the American...
Did you say pet store?
A pet store.
Why didn't he just bring out this giant Rottweiler and say, he's got rights too and he's hungry?
They've got the highest, one of the highest cases of COVID
Correct,
in the world.
250,000 deaths.
And they're not wearing masks.
Jen, can I ask you, we've had this sort of Karen attitude here in Australia as well, in Melbourne. I don't know about you, but just to get everybody's point of view, I'm sick and tired of these people. They refuse to do what the law tells them to do. They don't want to stay indoors. They don't want to follow rules. They don't want to wear masks. What would you do with these people? Can we ask the panel? Ted?
Well, I think they should be thrown into jail
Honestly.
with dirty sheets and be made to wash them for a whole year.
Does it make you? Does it annoy the panel
It
here?
really annoys
Because it annoys me that
It's
there's
so
people.
selfish, isn't it?
So selfish.
But
Why
you know
can't
why
you
they're
wear a
doing
mask?
that? They're only doing that because they've read it on the internet, right? Their best friend said they constitutionally can't do that. I'm in
Crazy.
here exercising my constitutional
But
right.
there is no constitutional right for people to be arseholes.
No, this is America. They'll claim it is anyway.
Oh, look.
But it's a respect thing as well for other people.
Well, these are the same people who, when you're in a merge lane on a freeway, will make sure they get in front of you.
Correct, just to
They're
get
the
in
same-
front.
Yeah,
just to get in front, and then they slow down.
And they're also
Crazy.
probably the keyboard warriors who abuse people on social
I came
media.
up with a solution to this
Yeah.
problem, and I know people laugh, but I think give the police tasers and let them use it on these people. Taser right between the head, and make sure it's high definition.
Fred, I
have
think
them on the
you're being
floor.
a little extreme.
I don't think so,
here.
because you know what? I'm sick and tired of
I'd
fellow
like to have a
Australians
taser.
that just do
I
not
wouldn't
follow
show
instructions.
the same restraint as the
So-
average police officer does.
And you know what? I am sick of people saying that it's a Chairman Dan or a dictator.
yeah.
He is not a dictator. He's trying to keep you alive and healthy. He's done nothing wrong.
And do you know
Grow
what?
up,
Have you
people.
noticed that he's got his North Face jacket back on again?
Yes,
Must
I
have
have.
got it back from the dry cleaners.
Look, it would be horrible to be the Premier
I
of
hope he
Victoria,
will.
and I don't
feel
envy
very
him.
sorry for him in the fact that he's probably had no sleep for the last 3
She called the
months.
police, didn't she, just to finalise?
Yeah, she called 911
Did they
and
come?
they said because it's law there that you actually have to wear a mask.
Correct.
So you phone
So
the cops
they- yep.
to tell them you're breaking a law.
Yes, yes.
And I would have
she
tasered
said
her.
She had a God-given right.
Now, Fred would have just tasered her.
And
Just
anyway,
taser her. Save
so
money.
she was
know what?
told basically that she
Needs
couldn't.
to do it.
She didn't have to. The young man was told he didn't have to accept her into
Correct.
the store.
Bugger off, just like the lady who went to
Fred's
Bunnings.
50,000 volts. Attitude adjustment.
I think so.
Now,
Chris,
look, I
what's
mean,
your
I love
story, just
both
quickly?
of you, but really, I
Chris,
don't
your
think
story?
you can use tasers just like the
Well,
higgledy-piggledy.
I think, you
Of
know,
course
it
we have to be
almost-
trained, Ted.
But it's what we've
Look at him
seen over
dancing.
COVID is
Yeah.
that people can't be trusted.
I'm
to
sick
do
and
the right
tired of
thing.
hearing these constant stories of people who break the quarantine,
Yep.
people who just don't follow the rules, people who think they're sovereign citizens. Get over yourself. You're an Australian citizen. You're not Mark McGowan. There's only one Mark McGowan. And
he thinks he's Jesus.
Would you wear a mask if you
Exactly.
had to? Would you wear a
No,
mask?
I would if we had to. If that was the law, I would do what I'm told.
We have to. If it's
Chris,
the law, you do.
they want us to wrap it up with you. So
Oh,
if I get you to do your
well,
story.
actually, it's interesting because another related thing, the West Australian Premier has said a secession referendum wouldn't be happening if you're in the eastern states. Goes back to 1933.
Yeah, they're talking about seceding again, aren't they?
WA actually voted to secede.
But nobody
It was just
has-
at the time Britain had two problems. Problem number one was a Great Depression. Problem number two was a fellow called Adolf Hitler drastically trying to increase his real estate holdings. So when little old Australia comes and says, we want to secede, we don't like
So
Canberra.
who
that's
has
all.
actually said it?
So is that just a furphy that the Victorian miners in Kalgoorlie stopped it happening?
No, if you look up, it's on the West Australian Electoral
Yeah, no,
Commission
I-
website.
I'd never argue with you, Chris.
The referendum passed. It's just that the UK Parliament, in other words, Mother England,
But then
refused to
they'd have needed
entertain
all
it.
the states to agree, though, wouldn't they?
Swan River
Yep.
Colony actually didn't want to become part of the federation. They
let's-
had to be cajoled
Okay.
into it.
This story was in the paper, WA Today or the Perth Now.
Yep.
But can I ask you, who actually said they wanted to secede from Australia? Because this is, I think it's only Mark McGowan saying it to make himself, give him a bit more power. Because I have
Well,
heard
look,
nobody
they
say
reckon,
that.
they reckon there's 30%.
No, there's a new party.
Yeah.
There's a,
Who?
There's a
Oh
new
yeah, he
political...
reckons that Clive Palmer's behind that one,
Oh,
which he may or may
please.
not
What,
be.
Party
separating-
back in the 70s, as I
Yeah.
recall, that was all about seceding.
It would not be happening because I'll give you a little reason why. And this
Well,
is
the
the only
Australian
reason.
Constitution would need four
Not
other
only that,
states to agree
Chris,
to it.
there is no way that any premier is that much of an idiot because premiers Western Australian, whether it's Victoria, they do not pay for Centrelink. They don't pay for taxation. If they were to secede, where the hell would Mark McGowan get the money to pay JobKeeper, JobSeeker, the pension? And could you imagine a pensioner staying in Perth if they're not going to get the pension?
Yeah.
They'd have to leave. So it will never happen because no state government can afford it.
It sounds, it sounds
ridiculous.
good. It's something.
Yeah, it fills in
Look,
time.
you're dead right. I talked about
Yeah.
this. I talked about this on Perth Tonight during the week. All the federal responsibilities, such as defence, the finance system,
Health.
welfare.
There's
Education.
one more. Look, you're forgetting the most
Universities.
important thing of all.
Yep.
The most important thing is we wouldn't be a part of the Ashes cricket team against the
Correct.
Bombs.
And
And,
we
that
wouldn't-
would be terrible.
And we would not see the Queen's Christmas message either.
And that's another thing. yeah,
Exactly,
yeah,
pre-recorded 3 years before.
Yeah.
But do you know what? I just think, who on earth, have you actually ever gone to anyone in this last 6 months that said, we should secede? Nobody has said that to
Yeah,
me.
look, I have a mate
I
who
reckon
lives in
30%
Newcastle
of West
who-
Australians are in favour.
I'd love to meet one of those people.
Well, my mate in Newcastle keeps on sending me messages saying, "Are you seceding this week? Is it time you
It ain't
secede?"
going to happen because Mark McGowan is,
Never
you know,
gonna
he's a
happen.
tough premier,
No.
but he's never going to do it. He couldn't afford to run the state. That $1 billion surplus would be a 4 billion, 100,000 billion.
He'd have to get the taxes from somewhere, wouldn't he?
Yeah. No, he wouldn't be able to do it. Unfortunately, the defence forces are out of Commonwealth.
Yeah.
Health is paid by the
you
Commonwealth.
start to do the money.
University.
Education, I mean, most things are paid by the Commonwealth.
Well, you'd
They
have to
just
have a
get run by
dramatic
the
increase
state.
in
And imagine-
population.
and imagine
what
all
about
the
GS?
defence.
What about GST?
Correct, that's a Commonwealth matter as well. So let's not talk about seceding anymore. Can I just ask a quick question?
Okay.
Who believes the borders should be dropped? Can I ask you individually? Chris,
Well,
do you
I
think the
believe
borders
we
should
need
come
a
down?
roadmap out, and I think the borders are going to be dropped about 2 weeks after the state election. That's what.
And why do you think the Premier's not dropping the borders?
Because it's a populist thing to do, and he's got an eye to the state election. He's looking at his opinion polls and said, "I'm going to win by a mile here. I'm going to do what people want, even if it's not the right thing to do."
Good point. Jen, what do you think?
I'm in two minds about it. Our readership is targeted to older people.
Yep.
They feel a lot safer with the borders being up, and the fact
I've heard
that
that.
we, the economy, we are back to normal in so many ways that, and I don't think we'd be living this way.
Until JobKeeper disappears.
If we had the borders open.
Fair enough. And Ted, what's your view on
Well,
that?
I'm certainly missing friends and relations from the other side of the country.
Yep.
I really, really am. But being one of Jen's readers, one of the old folk, I'm quite happy with what young
Fair
Mark
enough.
is doing.
Just to wrap up on 6PR.
I wish I had a taser.
Yes, look, we can go to a training school together. I'll try it on you, you try it on me. Can I just say, I asked that very question to our listeners on 6PR, and I had about 12 of them ring in the other morning, and the question was, do you support the borders staying up and why? None of them could give me a reason why. It was almost like, but everyone says they got to stay up. Yep. And it was always to do with Mark McGowan, not as in, it doesn't actually do anything. They don't even know why.
Fred, it's like
safe.
the road toll. I could fix the road toll tomorrow. Ban people from driving or riding in
Correct.
cars. Road toll is fixed, but who wants to do it?
Thank you very much to our bitches today. Let me thank Ted Bull, of
Oh, it's a
course,
pleasure.
former ABC star, actor, anything he wants to be. Of course, Jen Merrigan from haveagonews.com.au. Got that in fast. Thank you very much. New issue coming out this week. I'm actually probably going to be in the next one, so look out for that. And Chris
Taser
Ilsley.
lessons.
I wouldn't mind that if I can get a free taser. Anyone got a free taser, please write to me. Chris Ilsley, of course, Perth Tonight, the only place that you'll find out what happened in Perth today. You'll find out at Perth Tonight if you're listening. 8 to midnight, Monday to Friday. As always, a very good listen. Thank you very much.
Thank
all
you
three
very
of you.
much, Fred. And by the way, for our website, go to youwillbezapped.com.
Thank you very much. Just about ready to say goodbye. Don't forget the massage lessons for the dogs. Thanks to Melody, we're giving those away. We've got 3 to give away. If you would like to win one of those, all you need to do, once again, is go to an SMS, 0439 929 929. Put your name and address on that SMS, and then just put their dog therapy, and we know that that's what you're entering for. Can I just give a chocolate out to all of our team? One for Ted, one for Jen, and one for Chris. These have come back. Of course, they're scorched peanut bars. Went away for 20 years. They're back again. Not Nestle anymore. Cook's Confectionery. They heard me on 6PR. They sent me 6 boxes. We're going to try them. Thank you very much to Cook's, and thanks to you for watching. Good luck to everybody in Australia. Let's hope COVID goes right down. Enjoy your time. Stay happy. Keep smiling. Bye for now. We'll see you next week.
When I cast you there. yeah.